Hey guys, NES Addict here, and today marks the 25th anniversary of the day that I got my Super Nintendo from Toys R Us. All that and more, next. So wow guys, 11/21/92. That's what it says here on this box for purchase date. 25 years later, here I am, still playing the same Nintendo. So before I tell you the story of how I got this very Super Nintendo, let me tell you a little backstory about how I got to want one. Sometime during late September of 1992, my buddy TJ had a birthday. I went to his house for a sleepover and he opened up a Super Nintendo and we played it all night. My mind was blown. The new design of the Super Nintendo looked so futuristic. The controller was curved and had more buttons. The graphics were so amazing, and you could ride a dinosaur. When I got home the next morning, I had to figure out just how I was going to get my hands on one of these. So I formulated a plan. I was going to make money by selling my stuff. Mistake number one. I decided to sell my NES because it was only 8-bit and this new system was 16-bit, which was twice as many bits, so it had to be better. I didn't care about that old Nintendo anymore. I wasn't going to turn into the NES addict 20-something years later. So anyway, I sold my Nintendo and all my games to $50 to a kid at my church. I think I sold a skateboard to another kid and a few Ninja Turtles to somebody else, and I ended up with about $75. So one fateful Saturday morning, my dad walked into the room where I was watching cartoons. It had to be around noon because I could remember that the cartoons were getting ready to go off. And my dad said, "Jay, how much money have you saved up for that Super Nintendo?" And I said, "About 75 bucks. And he said, "Why don't we just go ahead and get it?" I was floored. I couldn't believe that he was suggesting this. We jumped in the car and headed straight to Toys R Us. But along the way, I had to make a crucial decision. You've heard of the 16-bit wars. Well, in my mind, there had been some turmoil about whether to get the Super Nintendo or to get the Sega Genesis. The Super Nintendo at the time was $139.99, but the Sega Genesis was $129.99. The only other difference that I can remember was, I think the Super Nintendo came with 2 controllers, and the Genesis only came with 1, if I'm not mistaken. So needless to say, on the way, I was conflicted. Once we got to Toys R Us, we walked back to where the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were, and I looked at each kiosk, and I looked at each game being played, which was Super Mario World, which was very familiar because I'd already played it, and Sonic the Hedgehog, who was this cool new blue hedgehog who could run really fast with attitude. And I thought to myself, which one do I want? The sleek black new Sega Genesis or the cool futuristic purple and gray Super Nintendo? My mind was torn, but eventually I settled on the Super Nintendo because I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I enjoyed playing Super Mario World. And I didn't know if I would love playing Sonic the Hedgehog as much as that. So what did we do next? We grabbed the slip and walked to the cage at the front of Toys R Us, where the man walked out with the Super Nintendo and stuck the small sticker that you see today that says 11/21/92. We made our way to the car after paying for it, and the whole way home I read every detail on that box, anticipating taking it home, opening it up, plugging it into the TV and exploring new worlds of Super Mario World that I'd never seen before. I feel like I can almost remember the smell of what that new plastic smelled like when I opened that Super Nintendo. And now the best part was I had this cool new Super Nintendo to play all of Thanksgiving break. And I had Christmas to look forward to get new games, which my dad got me Super Scope 6, and I also got Home Alone. The rest of that year I got more games like Final Fight, Troy Aikman football, and other games, and Super Star Wars even. And I remember my dad hanging out with me and playing Super Nintendo, and man, the memories I link from that system to my dad are just amazing. But this is where the story starts to take a turn. Alright, fast forward to November 23rd, 1995. My dad was on an operating table waiting for a liver transplant. This happened to be Thanksgiving, which ironically enough in 2 days, November 23rd, 2017, 22 years later, it will also be Thanksgiving Day. And so my dad was on this operating table waiting for this liver transplant. He got the liver, they're doing the transplant, the liver doesn't take, and my father passed away Thanksgiving Day, November 23rd, 1995. So it's kind of strange that not only is this the 25th anniversary of having my Super NES, but it's like the 22nd anniversary of my father being passed away, all within a couple days of each other. So I really just wanted this to be a memorial for my father because he helped me get my Super Nintendo, and so many good memories of playing the Super Nintendo revolve around my dad. He got me Super Scope 6. He would play Final Fight with me. He'd play Street Fighter 2 with me. I remember him watching me play Super Star Wars. You know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have got that console that meant so much to me. And I didn't realize how much it meant and how closely it was tied into my father until looking back on it. But I think that's why I hold those memories so fondly of the Super NES, because it was the last 3 years of his life when I was still playing that console and getting new games, and you know, the Super Nintendo was the console of choice for me during that time. So that console and my dad's last memories are so closely connected. So I just wanted to make this video to show my appreciation for my father, the fact that he got me the Super Nintendo and all the memories we made with it before he passed away. And November is a strange month because Thanksgiving actually was my favorite holiday because it was after Halloween and you still had Christmas to look forward to. My father's passing didn't really change that. Even though it was on Thanksgiving Day, I still really liked the holiday. And I know my dad loved me. He did what he had to do. He got the disease that killed his liver, which was hepatitis B, on a mission trip in India. He was working with a dentist helping him with some locals, and he thinks that's how he got the disease. And he told me before he passed away that if it was left to do it again, he would have done it. But this video is for him and for my memories of him and for my memories of the Super Nintendo. And I just wanted to get this video out this week, especially today, because it was 25 years to the day today that he took me to Toys R Us, and he knew I was so excited for it, and he wanted that day to be special. And I still had Christmas to look forward to, but man, that was the best Thanksgiving I ever had because I had the Super Nintendo, and during that whole break I could play it, and it was just the best, you know? It was just the best. And Dad, I love you and miss you, and if you guys still have your parents, make sure you give them an extra special hug and tell them you love them, and tell all your family you love them, because you never know when you're going to lose somebody. And anyway, guys, I don't want to go on about this anymore, but I did want to make this video. I thought it was very important for me, especially if no one else even watched this. Having this for myself is important. So this will probably be the only video I get out this week because Thanksgiving's coming up, and I want to spend time with my family. And I suggest you guys all do the same. Play some games, but hang out with your family too, and let them know you appreciate them. And be thankful for them, especially. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos. I don't always make sad and depressing videos about people passing away, but I had to do it this time. This is a special time, and to remember my father, I just had to get this out there. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, take care.